Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Marvel Rivals Ignite Open Qualifier number 2. Today, we are in EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And we have an exciting game for you. We're in the round of 16, meaning the winner moves on to that round of 8. And we'll be one game away from qualifying for Marvel Rivals Ignite. No pressure, but they've got to try their best. And once again, I was live streaming this game when I cast it for the first time, meaning that if you go to that description, you can see the twitch.tv link in there. You could have jumped in and have seen this a little bit early. You could also have seen it early if you were a YouTube member, like the wonderful people of Dump Alt, Lucas Tyson, Arso, Doki Pokey, and John. So thank you all very much for supporting the channel. Let's head in to our first game of our best of 3. It is Schmungus versus NATU's SVINSER. Let's see how they do. Schmungus have had a bit of a tough run when it comes to tournaments so far. While being one of the best teams, undeniably, they struggled to even hit top 8 when it comes to MRC and did not qualify in the first round of qualifiers, getting knocked out a little bit earlier. So now, this is their last chance for a while to qualify for Ignite. We're seeing Loki. And, of course, that Venom getting banned out. People know Andrew. Schmungus, of course, famous streamer team. Necros, KG, Andrew, Desley, who I kept calling Delcy for many months before someone told me that my dyslexia was absolutely messing me up here. Craggy and Bogor. Jeff going to get banned out. We are on the new patch here, meaning Ultron is available. But Jeff going to be taken out, new Jeff. We've not seen him really play yet, so we do not know if those changes are a hard nerf or at least make him still viable. Either way, flanking Jeff is almost certainly going to be removed. Hella taken away. This opens up the possibility for flyers. Human Torch did receive a pretty harsh nerf. Emma Frost will get protected. Still strong. Still extremely powerful. Also, there's not been a lot of time for players to practice the new stuff. We're about 2 or 3 days since the patch. So there's not a lot of time for these players to have learned stuff. That's going to be Wolverine. Protected here. With Groot still on the board. Very sensible to make sure that's available to you. Star-Lord, and Warlock still available. The Hulk still up. Give potential for a Namor. Magneto going to be taken away with Emma Frost on the board. Not wanting to deal with that. Strange did receive a little bit of a buff as well, so we could see him sneak into this draft. And Psylocke, who's been barely touched, is still insanely strong. It is going to get banned away. Here we go. It looks like we may be seeing another Ultron game. A Schmungus. Going to be hovering that. We had an Ultron game yesterday in the Americas from ATLPXG. I'm not going to say the spoilers for that. Schmungus going to try bringing it in. Will they try it with an Iron Man? Looks like triple support is where they believe this can work. And we do, in fact, see that Doctor Strange making its way back in. And Punisher being the main DPS. That is sensible. You know you might be against a wall, a Groot. So Punisher is one of the characters who can really melt through Groot walls extremely quickly. Golumbra, likely expecting the same thing here, are looking immediately over to that Wolverine. But there is no Groot on the other side. It is Emma Frost. And that Doctor Strange. Speaking of which, let's introduce our players. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, it is Schmungus with Necros on the Ultron. KG playing Luna Snow. Andrew, on the Emma Frost. Desley playing the Invisible Woman. Craggy on the Punisher. And Bogor, number 2, on the Doctor Strange. On the right-hand side, it is NATU's SVINSER with Versa Al playing the Invisible Woman. Juice World 9999G. One too many nines there. Going to be playing that Iron Man. Navi David on the Groot. Opadsnu on the Emma Frost. Yowie Addicted will be playing the Lunar Snow. And finally, as they pick up an elimination onto Necros here, and finally Golumbra will be playing the Wolverine. Bogor gets taken down, and Schmungus on the back foot immediately here, as we're starting to see NATU pushing in extremely aggressively. Juice WRLD already sieging away with this Iron Man. Guardian Barrier blocking any counter damage. Beautiful pickup there. Andrew getting locked down. Trying to get onto Craggy, who again has hit scan as a good counter to those flyers. Necros returning on the low ground as well. Essentially a burst rifle is this auto. Invincible Pulse Cannon comes on in, and it's gonna take out Desley, who was not able to find a way out. Trying to keep the team topped up. Rage of Ultron to try and burst on through, but there's no front line to stop the cart going in. So this ult is just going to act as zoning here. As Necros, they know it's over. They're just going to go down to make sure they're back in time for their team. As Craggy moves over to the Scarlet Witch here. They're still, by the looks of it, sticking with... Nope, they were not sticking with Triple Strategist. Necros moves off of Ultron and is going to bring out Spider-Man. This is going to put that Iron Man in extreme danger. Craggy rushing in, but Unibeam to try and trade the shots. It's going to take one trace around from Spider-Man to put them in serious trouble here. We also have the team up. Doing huge damage here, using that Magic and Order team up. Fate of both worlds from KG. To push on through. Yowie Addicted to match it, to try and set up for their team as in comes that Sonic Seduction to take out Desley, to chase them down, to try and pull them in, just short of getting another lockdown, but Andrew will fall. Bogor is barely standing, and if they get spotted, which they will, Golumbra finds the elimination. Retreating back to their card, they're extremely low, they will get topped up, but the fact is the card is still moving. Necros looking for any easy targets here. Someone to pull off, but nope, get shut down themselves and sent off the side. Craggy with the team up, trying to melt on through, straggling prison for David. Able to clean out KG and Desley, removing once again all of the healing output. Necros has abandoned Spider-Man and has moved on to Wolverine. That sorcery surge that Scarlet Witch gets. Technically, that attack is called Mystic Burst when with the team up. On that Doctor Strange for a big chunk of damage. Trying to melt through anyone. The front line, especially Wolverine, would be an amazing target. Invisible boundaries for both teams. Here comes Reality Erasure. I have Okamoto to lock them in place. It's the double as Craggy finds them. And this is likely going to be a team wipe. Yowie Addicted is on the run, getting out of danger, makes it back to the spawn. And we got to see a Reality Erasure in pro play in these open qualifiers. Necros has final stand at the ready to try and look in for the turnaround. Juice WRLD on this Iron Man has just been doing a really solid job so far, continuing to try and focus and melt down any final movement. Gets caught in the final stand by Necros, who goes down, but they take out David on the way. Opa gets taken down, chased all the way out here as Craggy, the damage output, looking very effectively here. Tried to Dark Seal to lock someone in place, was not able to find the elimination, but does get a little bit of zoning. Sending in a couple of those shots. Dark Seal locks down the Emma, but not enough to finish the job as Mystic Surge will come on in to try and burst on through with that team up, but they're forced to phase away as they're getting focused very hard here by Juice WRLD, who has an Invincible Pulse Cannon, avoiding that Psionic Seduction. Here comes another Reality Erasure. Goodbye, triple elimination. Juice WRLD falls, getting taken out as well, and that is Schmungus right now, finding use to the Scarlet Witch here. And they are locked in on this defense. getting the charge so quickly. Golumbro on this Punisher, looking to try and do some solid damage output to melt through. Bogor is trying to sneak on in on the high ground, but was spotted. Invisible Pulse Cannon still at the ready. Opa sent down again. Aya Magamoto with the final stand, and it's once again going to be even more people getting eliminated. Invisible Pulse Cannon blocked out completely. David dropped the straggling prison, but there's no one to follow up on it. They get melted, and that is going to be another hold with 2 minutes to go. NATU, they had so much good time on their way here that they still have 2 minutes. That's how quickly they pushed it earlier. Oh, they're swapping it out here. Iron Man has been abandoned. Here comes the Thing to charge on in, try and lock him down. Invisible Boundary. With the extra battle leap for that Stone Aegis, they can try and contest this as Andrew is being dropped low. Craggy and Necros were taking that right at the start, as was Juice WRLD. On that Storm to try and get a different angle of engage here. But they're shut down again, forced to back away. Craggy is the one who seems to be mostly uncontested here. Dark Seal again, making it so hard for Open to actually make any kind of progress. Try and make it happen. Those Psychic Spear being dropped on both sides. Final Judgment to try and melt on through. Mind's Aegis takes out Bogor. Trying to make their way up to get a spot onto anyone. Finds Craggy, who's trying to phase on through. Will get taken down, but bought time while being there. Lovely movement mechanics. Keeping the front line topped up. Versa and Juice WRLD both playing far up with their vanguards while the rest of the team stays a bit further back. Craggy has another reality erasure here. Has to wait at least for that culling turret to expire. Final Judgment for Necros, trying to get onto any of that front line here as the Thing makes their way in. David trying to get some of that focused damage. Here comes Craggy, looking for the Luna and will not find them, but gets Invisible Woman and the Emma Frost instead. David taken down by Necros. The Omega Hurricane is allowing Juice WRLD to get at least some counter damage. Trying to duel Necros, who picks them up and gets the elimination. And now with 19 seconds to go, do NATU have what they need? Do they have the time? They're going to try and make their way in on foot. Dark Seal slows down the attack. They can now try and portal in. Bogor to try and cut off the push has walled off, portaled off that engage point, but they're still trying to make their way into looking for that overtime. Maya Magamoto to stop them touching. Beautifully done by Bogor.
0-2-2. Time to switch things up.
That was an incredible push by NATU, but Schmungus with an insane hold at the end there, holding for almost 4 solid minutes on 1 point. Making great use of this Scarlet Witch, something we are not seeing a lot during Season 2. We love it when we get different characters showing up. Juice WRLD moving back over to the Iron Man here. Spider-Man being hovered by Necros. Might try and roll out with that again. We'll see. This is a map where you can get some really good value. There are plenty of spots, especially at this very first point. If anyone's close to your spawn point, try and pull someone off the edge. Juice WRLD was on Iron Man, but it looks like they're going back to spawn to swap off. They do. They're going to go back to the Storm.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
Destiny giving their team a little bit of Rockets packed lunch. Craggy with the Emma. I was about to say, I don't think that's making it out of spawn. Going to stick with the Scarlet Witch. Dark Seal could really get a good zone in this alleyway here. Down this main street. Group walls getting focused down. David targeted and melted here with the pickup from Necros as they chase on in. The damage output is wonderful here. They are just have so much momentum. Flyers, what flyers? As Craggy is able to run on down. David over to the Strange, but the portal is coming in from Bogor. What's the plan here?
halfway there. Keep going.
What is Bogon doing? Taking a little bit of damage. Perhaps just scouting as they let the portal go down. Lots of damage getting locked down by Emma as Opad pushes on an invincible boundary to keep the team pushing up. Craggy falls. KG is keeping the team as topped up as they can with his Fate of Both Worlds, but they are out of bodies, and they just will have to retreat. No way they're going to be getting out of here if they try and sustain. Necros running off to the side instead of back to the rest of their team. They get isolated and picked off. Columbra did fall about the same time. Will be returning shortly. Here comes the Psionic Seduction from Andrew to try and keep this momentum down, to try and lock them in. MyZ just buys them a lot of time. Visible boundary from Desley. Aya Magamoto from Bogo gets the backline as a Craggy once again. Reality Erasure bursts on through, but Yowie Addicted is buying as much time as they can, but they're extremely outnumbered. They try to just hold the cart, but they are taken down. David, Portal to make their way back in. Force push to buy an extra meter or two right on the edge here as Kraken Impact for Necros, though, is allowing reset after reset. Trying to get onto that Emma Frost to take them down, prevent more Silent Seduction, takes out the Invisible Woman, takes out the Storm, gets the reset while literally frozen. Can't be cooler than that. Up to the high ground just in case, and that is Schmungus claiming point number 1.
Keep up the momentum.
And what do NATU SVINSER have to stop this insanely high momentum play? So far, they don't really have much, it seems. They've brought out Winter Soldier instead of Punisher, but is that the adjustment to take care of the Scarlet Witch, as right now seems to be dominating the map? Sieging from behind, the backline flank, and they are out. Craggy, terrifying here with the Chthonian Blast. Will finally get taken down. KG keeping the rest of the team topped up. Necros back over to the Wolverine. There's a lot of people here who could be pushed off the edge in the right situation. We'll keep an eye on Destiny as well. If anyone gets too close, they could be flying off that left-hand gap there into the pond. KG keeping the team topped up, but once that goes down, Invisible Boundary is at the ready. Getting silenced. Able to avoid most of it. Will get the Omega Hurricane, which will buy them a little bit of time. Going to try and use it to take out the front line, but there's that Invisible Boundary. But they still get some damage out of it. Here comes another. Takes down one. Only David, but they tagged through. They got it off. And they're able to retreat back to the rest of the team. Final stand. Necros and KG on the other hand, wiping out the backline, turning on to Emma, who's in the front line. Percentage damage Wolverine means a very good time. Taking out Opad, and they continue to push on in. Point number 2, grabbed in almost record time here. Ooh, that was a very ambitious dive, but very nearly found it. David over to the thing. Someone who can't be CC'd as easily by the Wolverine. Cannot be displaced. Can be stunned, but will not be pushed around. Gives the team a little bit of extra front line, but normally this would be combo with something like a Magneto to keep it safe. They are stuck with Emma Frost, meaning that David is getting targeted down so hard here. Trying to get those embattled leaps to get out of danger. Fantastic Force to keep them topped up as KG, Fate of Both Worlds, pushes in. Craggy will be the first to fall here. Opad is the second as they try and turn this round. Psionic Seduction is locking down the team. David falls. Juice WRLD has Omega Hurricane again, but their team is not there for the follow-up as the car keeps moving. That is the finish line. At this point, drop Omega Hurricane and get on the point. They're pushing forward. Opad is going to be able to make it to that point to hold the line. They're going to be able to delay, but they're pushed off by Necros. Bogo goes down. Columbra is taken out. David melted again. Final stand. Necros is capitalizing as hard as they can. Reality Erasure to try and take him down through the Omega Hurricane. And that's going to be it. Craggy perfectly timed, allowing Schmungus to push all the way in to hit that finish line. And that is going to be point number 3. And they're going to go up in this first game 1-0. It's a best of 3, so there is still a chance for a comeback. KG getting MVP, and I'm not surprised. We're going to see quite a few final hits going over there. "26 eliminations. Normally that could be a top elimination number here, but it beats out Juice WRLD, who was the solo DPS for a lot of that game. But the top is going to go over to Craggy, unsurprisingly there. 46 eliminations. 27 of which were final hits. Surprise! Scarlet Witch is here. 31k damage, 1k more than Juice WRLD, top in the game. Insane work here. Least amount of times getting eliminated, Andrew and Desley. Only getting taken out 3 times each. Most damage blocked, 51k. David gave everything on the line to try and tank for their team, but they got eliminated 14 times. The most in the game while absorbing the most amount of damage. You've got to wonder if maybe they could have been helped. Most damage healed is going to be the 42k of KG, who did get 8 final hits as we predicted. Only got taken out 5 times, did 10k damage, did the most healing. A well-deserved MVP going over to KG there. Not surprising at all. And that's game number 1 of this best of 3. Let me get us set up for game number 2. A lot of the people from Heroes, hello Mixon, did show up, did jump back in. A lot of the people from my old Heroes of the Storm days are here to say hello. And I say hello back. I've missed you all very much. So let's get this set up for map number 2. I'm on the wrong thing. It's not in my messages this time. It's actually in the game. That, round of 16. Into round of 8. And game number 2. There we go. But yeah, they're enjoying the carnage. They're not as familiar with the game, but I appreciate the support. Thanks for stopping in. Hell yeah. Let's head in to map number 2. Schmungus versus NATU SVINSER. As we head into Hall of Jalia for Convergence. Loki and Venom going to be banned away. NATU still don't want to let Andrew play their Venom. Just getting targeted almost every single time. Punisher back on the board again, being protected by Schmungus as Groot is protected by NATU. This time, though, Wolverine is bad. Even though it was the Scarlet Witch that seemed to cause them a lot of grief, we will see that Wolverine taken out, as it can, of course, really isolate people. Going to give them a lot more trouble. I would not be surprised if we see the Doctor Strange actually banned out by NATU here, if it's not protected by Schmungus. Because that was what was empowering that Scarlet Witch for a lot of the burst damage. While it, of course, wasn't the main tool that allowed her to keep ulting, it did do a lot of work with Agamotto. It did buff the Scarlet Witch effectively, and Bogor's extremely good at it. This would be where my attention would be drawn, I feel. Magneto will be protected. Emma, so far, not touched. Psylocke will be the protected one, making sure that Necros has something they're comfortable on. Or is that another option for Craggy? They ban out, and there it is. We talked about it. Also, I was looking at the wrong team there. Sorry, that is a pickup for NATU. But there it is. Banning out the Doctor Strange, preventing Schmungus from running that combo once again. Interesting. Schmungus, they pick the Magneto, but ban the Emma, not wanting to run the team up this time, it seems. Golumba is the one who wants to play the Psylocke. Na'Vi is currently hovering a Black Widow. I don't think that one will make it out of spawn. That would be peculiar. Necros is considering his patented Spider-Man. As Bogor is considering an Incredible Hulk. With Namor available, that could be effective. Necros is back on Ultron currently. Don't know if that's going to make it out of spawn. Looks like potentially. Thinking about it at least. This is a team Okay, there we go. Craggy is going to swap over to the Namor. I was about to say that this is a team with exactly 0 team-ups. And I am curious how it will go, but now we do have the team-up Gamma Monstro between the Hulk and that Namor. But we have, once again, a triple strategist setup here. Necros going to be bringing back the Ultron.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3.
Versus giving their team a little bit of a rockets-packed lunch here, making sure they've all got a little bit of pre-armor before they make their way onto the point. Punisher returning once again, and Invisible Woman will be their choice of rollout. A little bit slow because they did get caught in the doorway, so their rollout is slowed down. Necros playing back teams, playing very grouped up here. Make sure they can stay topped up. We're going to keep an eye on Craggy, though. This is a teamed up Namor doing huge damage with that Gamma Monstro. And of course, there is Juice WRLD in the sky there on that Iron Man. They'd love to be able to take them down, but they're focusing onto the people on the ground first, as they're the ones who are touching the point. Getting healed up, pulled in with the force pull, wall behind them and taken down here. Rage of Ultron, Invisible Pulse Cannon for the turnaround, but that's a double for Necros, taking down Yowie and Versa as they try and turn their attention onto Juice into the Iron Man versus Ultron team up. But their focus is keeping their team up, prioritizing healing the team over keeping themselves up. Necros trying to win the strategists back over, I see. Bogor up to the high ground. Making sure that they are a little bit further forward, seeing if they can catch anyone unawares. Finds the hit onto Juice WRLD. Not landing the stun, though. You can see the jump is already charged. They haven't disengaged in case anyone gets caught out. Juice WRLD is trying to be the one to siege in, set the team up. Get a quick blow up if they can. Guardian Barrier to make sure they have some protection, can pull back, get healed if needed. Necros drop low, but already getting healed up. You can see that passive healing as well with that drone. That appears to be on KG on the backline. Fade of both worlds from Yowie Addicted as they push onto the point of Invisible Boundary for Desley for the counter round. Juice WRLD already taken down. Na'Vi retreating into the Fate of both worlds. Has that straggling prison. Galumbra does it. The Butterfly will be the initial point here. Not finding anything though, as that Indestructible Guard will turn it round. Invisible Boundary from Versa will be that Necros will also likely not fire much, so turns the attention to healing. The flexibility here is very effective. Trying to get the attention onto David, trying to take them down. The duel once again with Juice WRLD. Backs away, Guardian Barrier. Imperative Firewall to keep the team topped up. Monster Hulk, they take out Opad as they try to chase on forward, turning the attention onto David. Imperative Firewall, keeping the team topped up. And Groot is going to be focused down here. Juice WRLD is on a long ramp around to make their way back to the rest of their team. Meantime, Craggy is just vibing, hanging out on the point. They aren't currently needed.
Only 60 seconds left.
Necros sieging, they have basically map-wide range. Comparative patch. Currently not on anyone. Gonna put it onto Bogor. There we go. Here comes the Rage of Ultron on a very grouped up set of enemies. Finds one, takes out the Punisher, getting unibeamed, but evasive actions keeps them up. And they try to get more focus onto the backline, playing hyper aggressive. The tracking is gorgeous here as they chase them down. Forced to back up, Craggy is still vibing. Juice WRLD gonna try and go for a wraparound here. If they can take out Craggy, then they might just be able to get onto that point and get a couple more potential and hold it overtime. Trusting their team to step up onto this here. Opad leading the charge. Juice WRLD on the flank. Yowie Addicted is going to be the one to pull the trigger. Takes out the squids on the point so that they can look for a wraparound. Dashing away. Invisible Pulse Cannon. Tackled by Hulk. Bogor leaping in. Takes them out as they hold onto the point. Juice WRLD is gone. Galumbra with final judgment. But Invisible Boundary is shutting it down here as Desley is preventing the Punisher. Bogor prevented the Iron Man. The damage is shut down as Craggy picks up Opad, KG picks up David, and that's a hold on 62% by Schmungus. And suddenly,
Time to switch things up.
there is some serious concern as to whether NATU can bring this to a game at number 3.
This one.
It's their turn to defend. And that was a very solid setup by Schmungus that they were able to lock in. Let's look at the stats. The damage numbers. 8k damage by Juice WRLD. No one else is above 6k except for Galombra. On the other side, 6k by Andrew, just under 6k by Bogor, 8k by Craggy, and even Necros with 8k. Also this time, way better in terms of the stats here, really keeping up with everyone. 7k, almost 8k with the healing output. Craggy is going for mines, by the way.
30 seconds.
Oh, they're not going for pre-mines. Okay, they just wanted to play Penny for a bit. Oh, they're helping their team armor up. Well, this is a problem because now now they have 2 players who aren't going to get armor. Also just throwing stuff onto the map, I see. Oh, who knows? Maybe they plan on running it. Maybe I am wrong. Iron Man and the Namor will be the backline for NATU SVINSER.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The pressure is
All
on.
you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Desley was Jeff for a bit, a little bit of a speed boost out of base, but otherwise they're sticking as they are. Bogor still on the Hulk, even though there is no Namor anymore. Going for a long wraparound here. Finding on the backline, getting a little bit of focus onto that invisible woman. I'm sure they'd like it a little bit more. Or the Iron Man would be perfect. Not getting the tackle, but did get a single punch. Indestructible guard. Trying to get onto the backline dive, trying to chase them in here. As Juice WRLD is playing far back, trying not to get isolated, but Andrew's got them completely zoned from their team here. The team is split in 2 as Schmungus are in the defensive position, trying to siege uphill, baiting in the members of NATU SVINSER right now. Galombra not falling for it though, just playing on the high ground, playing in the building, currently in the duel with Necros. But the squids are getting taken down so fast. Rage of Ultron into the air as the point is claimed. 63.33%. And that is going to be game 2 and the series going over to Schmungus. Necros gets what might be our first competitive Ultron MVP. At minimum, the first one I've cast. As Schmungus take the 2-0, move on to the final 8. And now we'll be within 1 match of qualifying for Marvel Rivals Ignite. Looking at the statistics here. Top eliminations will be Andrew with 13. Just above KG with 12. Least amount of times getting eliminated. Report the DPS as Bogor, Andrew, KG, and Desley, none of them went down even once. Top final hits will be Bogor with 8 on that Incredible Hulk diving backlines. Getting it done. Top damage, extremely close here. By 103, Craggy will out-damage Necros. But Necros with the most final hits out of the 2 of them with 5, still 3 less than Bogor though. Top damage blocked, 12k. For the side of Bogor is the highest on the side of Schmungus, but it's dwarfed by David with 20k. Holding the line as best as they could for their team. Did get taken out the most though, but only 1 more than the rest of the team in this case. Tried everything to keep their team up, but they just could not survive the relentless assault. Top healing. In this case, with triple strategist, you see it spread out a little bit more. Again, Necros did keep up quite well here, just under 9k, a little bit less than Desley. And with 10k damage, really making up the difference, showing that Ultron kind of does fit fairly well into, by the looks of it, these triple strategist setups. But we'll see how much we see of him in the future. As again, players are starting to feel him out a bit more and more. But the top healing overall goes over to Yowie Addicted with 16k healing. 3k more than Versa, and 6k more than KG. Not enough to win their team the game, but enough to win our hearts. We love a healing king, or queen, or just monarch in general. And with that, we are at the end of today's cast. I hope you have all enjoyed. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll be attempting to find some of these best of the quarterfinals and other qualifying games for the regions where they only have 2 spots available replays. So I'll be messaging some teams to hopefully get some of that available for you. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell so you see when those come out so that you can be prepared yourself and see which teams make it in to Marvel Rivals Ignite and can compete for that big prize pool. There is so much available. We have our first lands coming up potentially. This is exciting, so make sure that you subscribe. Anything publicly available, I will try and bring to you, of course, so make sure that you subscribe for that. Make sure you follow the Twitch so you can see these being recorded live sometimes, like the people in the chat, which is over here. Hello, chat, or at least on my screen. Wait, on your guys' screen? You know, it is going to be over there as well, so hello, unless you have your own custom setup. But you can help out that way. And, of course, you can help out by subscribing on Twitch or sending some bits as a donation. You can send a thanks on YouTube, or you can become a member on YouTube and get your name shouted out like the people at the beginning of this video. For now, though, that is going to be it for me. Make sure to tune back in tomorrow to see what games I was able to find. I have been Tetcher. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.